Chris Honorado and Brian Mariano, the closer, in for Roger here on 104.5 The Team, Big Board Sports on ESPN Radio. And as we mentioned before, hey, Belmont Stakes Saturday, by the way. And I know it doesn't have the buzz, closer, because there's no Triple Crown threat. But the way Naira has built this Saturday of racing, from a handicapping perspective, from a guy I know who loves horse racing, you're all fired up about it. And we should, remind people that, hey, listen, even some of these horses in the field, you're going to see in Saratoga this summer, too. So certainly take note of that. Our horse racing analyst, John Pricci, joins us here, and you can find his work on horseraceinsider.com as well. Preach, good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Hey, John, as we said, look, the Derby winner isn't here. The Preakness winner isn't here. There's no Triple Crown threat. But it is the third leg of this Triple Crown series. So if I'm a casual horse racing fan and I don't see some of the bigger names in this race, why should I still be interested?
Well, you should be interested because at the end of the year, one of these names may be quite familiar to everyone in the world of sports, not only racing fans. We did lose two of the big horses, and there is some question mark about the Japanese horse in that he's got a little issue in his right front ankle, so we don't know how 100% fit he's going to be for Saturday. And he was the morning line second choice. So, the race keeps on taking hits. But, guys, it's a classic. It's always going to be the Belmont, and next year, when people look at their stat book, they're going to see a name for 2017. And that name might be very familiar.
John, so now I'm looking at this, and I can go any which way. I'm so hard to try and talk anybody off of any horse in this race. Where should I be looking here?
Well, that's wise. I've got to answer that two ways, Brian. I've got to give you, the most probable winner, where I think the most probable winner will be, and the best value. I think the most probable winner is Irish War Cry. This is a horse that has touted himself. I mean, Graham Motion, it's well documented. He was depressed after the Derby. He thinks, I'm out of this Triple Crown trail. And then the horse started doing so well at his Fair Hill base, which, for people who don't know, it's like the Saratoga training track, a lot like Oklahoma. It's very pastoral, very quiet, and that's the way the horse seems to like it. He was probably thrown off his game a little bit in the hysteria that is the Churchill Downs backstretch. But this is a horse on a bounce-rebound pattern, guys. I mean, he ran great in the Holy Bull and came apart in the Fountain of Youth. And then, he got a little disrespected. He comes up to the Wood Memorial, runs his career best race. And then he reacts, he regresses again. At the top of the far turn at Churchill Downs, this horse beneath Rajiv Marag went from loaded to empty at the top of the stretch. And that's what stress will do. I mean, no matter how well a horse is doing, apparently, the stress of a race brings it out. Nobody appreciates that more probably than Todd Fletcher. I mean, I watched Always Dreaming work like a wild horse for 2 weeks up to the Preakness, and as soon as Classic Empire leaned on it down the backstretch, well, the stress of the Derby, and the close racing got to him coming back in 2 weeks. Having said that, I think Mr. Fletcher has got the best value in this race, and that's the way I'm going, and that's a horse called Taprit. I think his tough trip in the Derby is a little underappreciated, a little underreported. I mean, everybody knows about it, but I think it was subtly worse than a lot of people think. He's also, because of the mile and a half, he's going to be relatively closer to the pace. And between the inside post and the best young rider in America, that's Jose Ortiz, I think he's going to be positioned perfectly in mid-pack, towards the top of the mid-pack. And what I see, or what I'm hoping I see, is that move he made at Tampa, which really opened my eyes. He showed a turn of foot that was very impressive and that left an indelible mark, at least on me. And I liked the way he powered through the finish line. Now, I understand that was only a mile and a 16th, and we're going a mile and a half tomorrow. But he's got that kind of pedigree that should get him that far. And if we could get that turn move, whereby Jose can save a little ground on the inside and get a drop on the late closers, I think he's got enough in this tank to get it done. And Todd knows how to do this. His horses that have run in the Derby and have skipped the Preakness have generally always come back to run well at Belmont. So we're going that way. He's 6-1 on the early line. It'd probably be a little less than that at post time. But I think I think 5-1, 9-2 in that area would be fair enough. Wouldn't really want to take much lower than that.
John, I looked at him as well, but I mean, I'm looking else for like value, obviously, in this race. And Chad Brown sends out Twisted Tom. You add Javier Castellano here. What chance do you have of him winning or even hitting the board in this race?
You know, Chad's taken a little heat for not running cloud computing back, which is not his style either. Coming back in the 2 weeks, and he says he's been dying to run Twisted Tom 1.5 miles for the last several months. So what's happened since? Well, he's only 3 for 3 since blinkers were added. His figures, both on my scale and on the Thoroughbred scale, keep ascending. As you noted, Javier and an inside post, and his workout was extraordinary the other day, and he really looks the part. It was the first time I had to see the individual when I watched the workout the other morning, and he's built the right way. I mean, you look at him from a distance, and that horse has got 1.5 miles written all over him. And Chad's betting 33% at this meeting. I'm not going to look away from him. I mean, at 20-1, he should be at least some sort of, exotic filler. You want some more value? I'll give you some more value. Jay Boy's Echo. You could forget his last 2 races. Dale does have a tendency once in a while, Dale Rowan, to get a little high on his horses. But when he says things like, this was the best workout of this horse's life, that was the last blowout he had before he left his Churchill Downs face, there's no hype intended there. I mean, if he did it, and he said he did it. Gormley, also, I think the track hurt him at Churchill Downs. I can't get over the fact that he was really close to the pace in the Santa Anita Derby. Did the race fall apart late? Yes. But was he there at the finish? Was he there? He was right there at the finish, indeed. And he's, I think, 15-1 on the early line, as is Jay Boy's Echo. So, you throw that in with Chad and looking at Lee, who never fails to fire, and that looks like the no jive 5 to me.
John Pricci, HorseRacingInsider.com.
Preach, by the way, man, you're stealing. I'm watching closers' reactions here. Every time you bring up a horse, it's like you're giving away a state secret of closers here.
You mentioned all of them, John. I'm like, these are all the horses I'm looking at. Son of a gun.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think you're looking the right way. I hope we're both looking the right way. And, we obviously, for the wager to be affordable, you need to nail down the top of the ticket. So I will use those 2 horses, but I'll use the favorite mostly defensively. I do want to win bet on Tapper, and he, like Irish War Cry, will be the key to all those superfectors and all those other fun wagers.
John, Tappert seems to be the pick for you and me, but what about the feel-good horse of this Triple Crown season? That's Patch. Don Pletcher's other horse gets John Velasquez and draws the outside again after drawing outside of the Kentucky Derby. Do you give this horse a chance? I mean, Todd says this horse can go 1.5 miles. What do you think?
I agree with him on the 1.5 miles, but, I think from post 7 in, have won the Belmont. Now, I understand it's not always a full field every year, but post 7 in has won the Belmont 93 times. And here's a horse who starts out from post 12, and the poor guy, I mean, the eye that's blind is the left eye. He can't see anything inside of him. It's a very, very, very tough task.
I can go 1.5 miles too. Doesn't mean I'm going to finish first. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like all horses can go 1.5 miles. The question is how long does it take to get there.
Exactly. Hey, John, we had Larry Colmus on yesterday, and he stopped me a little short of, saying let's ring in the Saratoga season right after Saturday with the Stars and Stripes still to come. But as we know, once the Triple Crown wraps up, we like to fast forward here to getting everybody back in the Spa City. I look forward to that, John. Hope you're well, my friend, and we'll keep our eyes on your picks tomorrow.
Thanks for that, guys, and you bet the count starts on Sunday.
No doubt. John Pricci of HorseRaceInsider.com with us here on Big Board Sports. Thanks, John.
Take care, guys.
You too, buddy.